Political Buzz is your rapid-fire look at the best political topics of the day. 3 questions, 30 seconds on the clock, and playing today with us, Democratic strategist John Rowley. Goldie Taylor, she's a political analyst and editor-at-large with thegrio.com, and Georgetown professor Chris Metzler. Hi, everyone. Happy Black Friday. First question. Morning. 5.5 weeks to go until Iowa. Newt Gingrich, as we've seen in the latest polling, is leading out of the state. Romney is 7 points behind. So the question is, what does Romney need to do now to close the gap? Chris.
Well, in terms of what Romney needs to do, is what he's not been able to do, which is win over the conservative base. At this point, we're not sure which Romney is going to show up. And unless and until he can win over the conservative base, he is not going to be able to close the gap. In fact, Newt has come out and has primarily been beating him because, in fact, while we may not agree with a lot of what Newt says, we understand that he is the conservative in the race. And as a result of that, I think unless and until Romney can close this gap with conservative base, it's going to be hard.
Goldie?
That's about right. You know, Newt Gingrich is known as the father of conservatives and modern conservatism here in Georgia. And Mitt Romney really can't be what he isn't. And I think that's what conservatives are really responding to. The political expediency and the flip-flopping back and forth on the issues over the years has left him with, you know, an air of distrust among conservatives. And so really it is an anybody but Mitt kind of race right now.
All right. And John, what do you think? Do you agree?
Well, Romney needs to channel Newt, and Newt needs to channel Romney. I mean, Romney needs to say or do something interesting, which is Newt's specialty, to prove he is not the android candidate with a chip in the back of his neck. And Newt needs to not melt down. He's been a ticking time bomb his entire political career, and he just eventually says or does something that melts down whatever his political fortunes are. Maybe another vacation to the Greek Isles for Newt would be the best thing to stay on top of the polls. All
right. You know what? A vacation to the Greek Isles is always a good idea, no matter who you are. The bipartisan group American Elect has raised over $20 million to try to put a third presidential candidate on the ballot next year. Your prediction, who is most likely to fill that ballot slot? Goldie.
Nobody. You know, at the end of the day, independent candidates are spoilers. If we look back to Ross Perot, they're spoilers. But this year, when we've got, you know, a lot of social media and other things, certainly it gives independents a bigger chance, a better chance to run. But if anybody's going to fill that slot, it has to be somebody really with their own money, somebody like Michael Bloomberg. And I just really doubt that the mayor of New York is going to run for the presidency, you know, this year or any other year. And so, you know, maybe you've got a Ross Perot who, you know, certainly, not Ross Perot, certainly you have a, you know who I mean.
John, what do you think?
Well, I think the dream ticket for Democrats would be Sarah Palin and Donald Trump. That's what we're hoping for. And then I think a fascinating ticket would be George Clooney and Michael Bloomberg. You would have two guys from the top 1% who could make a case that they could fight on behalf of the 99%.
Right, but how likely is it?
I would agree with what Goldie says. I think it's unlikely that any of the major players are going to make a move for it right now.
Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. There's nobody who's going to fill that spot. I mean, independent candidates are just not going to do it. I think, you know, for Republicans, the dream candidate would be, oh, I don't know, Russ Feingold of Wisconsin. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we're pretty much done here.
All right, this is the field then. Now your buzzer beater, 20 seconds each. Nothing says Thanksgiving like a Charlie Brown special, but Jimmy Kimmel gives it a political twist. Watch.
Mitt, you hired illegals in your home, and you knew about it for a year. And the idea that you stand here before us and talk about that you're strong on immigration is on its face the height of hypocrisy.
Rick, I don't think I've ever hired an illegal in my life. And so I'm afraid, I'm looking forward to finding your facts on that, because that just doesn't...
I'll tell you what the facts are.
Rick, again.
You had
Rick,
I'm speaking.
The newspaper. It's time for you to tell the truth. You get 30 seconds. Time for you to tell the way the rules work here is that I get 60 seconds.
Well, no, but the American
and then you get 30 seconds to respond, right?
Okay, it's funny, it's hilarious. It's always funny when you take an actual debate sort of conversation and put it in the mouths of anyone else but the politicians themselves, but this in particular is funny. Which cartoon do you think sums up the 2012 presidential race, Chris? And why?
I think it's Family Guy, because I think what you have is just a bunch of dysfunctional people just kind of running around here. We're not sure exactly what's going on. So I think Family Guy probably sums it up the best in this political season.
John?
Beavis and Butthead, because it's been a race to the bottom in terms of the quality of the candidates, the quality of the debate. Now, the music hasn't been that good, but the jokes have actually been funnier.
Okay, Goldie.
I'm going to show my age here. Josie and the Pussycats. I think it's like an all-girl band who keeps singing the same tune show after show after show.
All right, thanks to all three of you, John Rowley, Goldie Taylor, and Chris Metzler, for joining us on this Black Friday Political Buzz panel. Have a great weekend, all of you.